All right, here we go. We're getting started. Hold on, it's coming up. 1 second. I've got what one? Where's that button? I know I have a button. There it is. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Oh, wait 1 second. Turn on my overhead light because I was working behind the. You want to? Here, I'll show you. I was working back there. I was doing stuff back there, and then I got to do this on. I was working facing that way. Now I'm facing. It's a lot of. Whew. Anyways, hi. How are you? Happy. What day is it? Monday. Yes, it's the the Republicans are supposed to vote on the rules package. Allegedly in a half an hour ish. Maybe we'll see. I know they're calling a gaggle together to do it. I would like to point out something before we get to that, though. You guys know I've been looking through this all today, and of course, down way near the bottom, one of the big things that the Republicans wanted to do is like push back on China in a way that the Biden administration can't even fathom. Never mind the fact that the CHIPS Act is setting China's AI and defense tech industries back like 20 years, but and then that's just for starters. But look what they call their, they have a resolution. Number 54 is the resolution establishing the Select Committee on the strategic competition between the United States and the Chinese Communist Party. Not to stop the Chinese government, the Select Committee on stopping Chinese hegemony of American workers and the job-swallowing great white shark that is the Communist Party. Nope. Just it's strategic competition. It's fine. It's exactly the same speak that they always use. You know, because they're rebels. I just found that particularly galling and hilarious. Welcome to the show, by the way, everybody in the chat room. One second, I'm going to drag you over into my personal hell as I do this. 1 second. There we go. Hi, everybody. I just think that's particularly telling, don't you? Yes, I saw MTG tried to use that Dre music. We played it earlier this morning. She got cease and desist, and it shut down her personal account. Her Rep MTG account was left open because apparently it's okay for state officials to steal copyrighted material. It's just not okay for citizens to do it. Yeah, I know. Fuck you too, right? That's the one thing that stood out about this whole thing. She's tweeting the shit out of Rep MTG, that account's still standing. She's able to write stuff on it, but her personal account gets bounced. No. Explain to me what's a worse example of corporate and political alliances or control or whatever the fuck these, the Pentaverate Illuminati control that they have, the fascists, the big tech, big government, blah, blah, blah. What's a better example of that? That an individual like you or I uses a piece of copyrighted material, we can have our channel knocked off, bounced, whatever, but an elected official gets their shit kept up. They can put the same thing, but if they've been elected to office, they can steal all the copyrighted material they want, I guess. That sounds like freedom. That's amazing. Hold on. I think that's how it should be, man. Like, I don't even know why the fuck. Look, you got to think it this way. A bunch of people use somebody's song. They only use a little bit of it. But Donald John Trump, man, you got to give him credit. He stands up there whenever they's playing, hi everybody, whenever they's playing that Lee Greenwood song. Sorry, I can't even talk about it without starting to tear up. And it's beautiful because he stands there the whole song. He walks out in the first verse, but he stands there till it's all done. That's respect for the artist. And also, I believe there's probably some sort of contractual obligation. That's my personal feeling. Man, wouldn't you love to get some of that Lee Greenwood scratch right around now? So, hi everybody, welcome. I think it's one of the funniest things is Trump's use of "and I'm proud to be an American," that business. And he like, you could tell the timing. This is muscle memory at this point. You could tell the timing with Trump was that he used to, like, they'd start playing it when he was in Air Force One, and by the time he walked down there, they had kind of worked it out. Like, somebody could hold him back and go, all right, you got to wait for the first, like, 2 lines. Now you start walking, and they know by the time he gets out there, give or take a couple of seconds, it'll be, me, hi, everybody. But once he was no longer president, and he could just walk out on his fucking own, he would just wander. He just wanders around the stage until the song's over. So great. Anyone play Daisy? You mean Jay-Z? Yeah. America is failing. It's dying. It's falling apart. It's nothing left. It's a carcass. We're all following Portland. Shall we jump right in though? Because I've got a real surprise for you guys here. I'm super excited. I recognize. How do we even start this? It's Hal Sparks, Megawordlwide, by the way. Thank you for being here. Started the show at the beginning of lockdown. Now it's become a thing because of you. So thank you for your eyeballs and your ear holes and your time and allowing me to sort of just, in the argument that you're having with the future, I get to muscle my way in and go, you're both right in sort of your own way, and it's going to be okay. But there are a few things that have been relatively consistent, and a few characters. And then there's been stuff we occasionally see them. They play a bigger part in the right wing media sphere than we really delve into. And a lot of times I don't even bother with some of these folks because they're so ridiculous that it's just a waste of time. And there's no better example, I think, than Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's email address is freedom@charliekirk.com, according to this. Look at that. That's how silly this is. Please, everybody take off your serious coat and put it on a chair. There is no part of any of this shit where you're like, gee, I'm going to have to take some of this seriously. Also, I'm apparently on the regular, maybe it's because of the long hair or something, I am constantly schooled online, and I'm recovering. I'll be okay. At how people on my side of the aisle are incapable of being masculine. By the those of this, by the Ben Shapiros and the thises that supposedly, do you understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying. You understand. You must understand. Like, this guy who literally looks like he's in his mom's basement. It actually looks like he's in his mom's office, and he promises he'll let her use it when he's done, with the white paint walls and the white shelving thing. You know what I mean? It's very subdivision. Mom! The whole look. But these apparently, I, as a Democrat, don't understand or have any respect for masculinity or maleness or any of that stuff. But what am I? Maybe it's just lost in translation. He looks like Ducky's asshole cousin, CSL. Well, I will say this: he's got a special guest on that we just got to hear from. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, the Marge, the Trader, the Green.
The program. So,
by the way, for the record, I'm sure you spot this as well, or whatever. This is one of my favorite interview between two people who look like Snapchat filters that you'll ever get a chance to observe. I wish they'd bring on Carrie Lake with her smudge cam so everybody looks fucking weird. Anyways, by the way, you are not you're not losing your mind. Marge has fresh filler. Okay? There's a difference in Marge's face from like Wednesday of last week and today. And most of it happened Saturday. So facial filler, that kind of stuff. She doesn't do lip filler, but she does obviously like cheeks and jawline and that kind of stuff, and maybe a little Botox on the forehead. I don't know. I'm just guessing. This is me spitballing. She doesn't go to Eric Bowling's, marzipan and hot caramel treatment or whatever he gets. But we think the needle missed. She got Botox on the brain. She missed the face and went straight into the skull, and like, oh, life's so much easier. My thoughts are frozen in place. All right, so here we go. This is after the vote and mid excuses, I guess.
Oh, I want to ask you. We've been receiving a lot of emails over the last.
A lot of hate mail
over the weekend about this deal that was negotiated and the deal that was struck.
If indeed there was a deal, we don't know there was a deal. There's no deal. Like the rules package on Tuesday of last week and the rules package that they are allegedly passing, that all the rigmarole was about, had one thing that was different. One thing. The single person moved to vacate. The only difference, which they were willing to lose and go to 5, didn't matter. He was willing to give them 5. They just didn't go to 1. And then they ended up going to 1. But that wasn't why Matt Gaetz was holding out. So there had to be something else. And it's going to be committee appointments and the like. Just so you know. Just letting you know.
I believe it's a good deal. I believe that our friends that were the holdouts, they pushed it to the limit. And then they realized that
take it to the limit. One more. Don't do it again.
Moderates were getting ready to strike back, and they still might strike back on the rules vote.
Which is the only reason, allegedly, that the people who were holding out voted the way they did was because they were guaranteed the rules vote, the rules package. But the rules package itself, you have to get the other people to vote with you. And if they were 90 for him, there's reason to believe they tell you to go fuck yourself. And okay,
Congresswoman, tell us about this deal and tell us about how we are on pace to have the most conservative Congress of our lifetime.
Yeah. Let me loosen my belt first. Hold on one second. There.
Well, I've been upfront all along. I always love a good fight in our conference, and I'm never afraid of one, but I always want it to be for the right thing. So I am thankful to my friends and colleagues because there's a few things I like in the package.
We're talking about the RSBN host, that dude now, or
but to be honest with you, they were pretty much already there.
Right, exactly.
Before,
like I said, there was one change. One single voice move to vacate, which, by the way, probably won't make it into the final rules package. Even if it did, like, what does everybody expect but chaos?
Last week before people saw what happened on the House floor. But for the American people to see it happen, I think that was helpful.
No, you did yourself no favors.
It brought the dialogue and the conversations and the agreements that we had made weeks and months before inside our conference meetings, and it brought it out for the public view. So I think
here's an idea. I'm just thinking out loud here. Maybe when you have those conferences, maybe you come out and you say, this is what we've agreed on in conference when we take over, and these are the things that we're going to change, and we've already agreed on them, and everybody's agreeing. We're all on the same page before you even say take the House, and use it as a selling point if it's so A, fucking popular with the conservatives out there, and B, you're actually going to fucking do it. So that would show strategic thinking, maybe forethought, intellect, I don't know, giving a shit.
I think that was very helpful. And I'm very glad that happened. I'm excited that we're going to have 12 separate appropriation bills. I think that's a huge win. But that was already there before the big fight happened.
Right. And that's, by the way, that's if they do their work. If they get behind on anything, they're going to have to slap some of these appropriation bills together to get them on schedule before everybody goes home in August and all that shit. It's a waste of time.
Now, the only change that truly happened with them holding out after 15 rounds was the motion to vacate went from 5 members down to 1 member. But today we have Anthony Gonzalez from Texas saying that is a no-go for him in the rules package. And that has him currently against the rules package tonight. I'm going to just lay it out straight for you.
But yeah, there's like 12 of them that are against the single vote to vacate because it makes any member of the KGB caucus into a one-person tyrant that can grind the work of the House to a halt anytime they fucking show up and call for a vote there, even if everybody isn't in town. I mean, it's stupid. It's so fucking stupid. And like I said, what was it all about then? If this is so good, what was it all about then? If they're not going to agree on the rules package in the first fucking place, then those people wasted all those votes and time for fucking nothing. They could have just voted present 5 fucking days ago. It's so stupid.
Guys, 5 or 1, it doesn't matter. 20 members of Congress proved last week that they can stop anything from being passed on the House floor. So I see it as a non-issue. I don't think it's anything for us to fight over. I think we need to celebrate the win. We have the gavel. I'm ready for investigations to start. I'm ready for subpoenas, and I'm ready to remove the drama.
Remove the drama. It's all drama, dipshit. You're not going to legislate. Nothing, none of their priorities, that their psycho priorities anyways, are going to fucking go to the Senate ever and get back and turn into a bill and get signed by the president. It's goofy. And anything they do pass, anything they do manage to get passed, is going to have the taint of the, Democrats in the Senate and Biden's signature on it. So everybody's going to get mad. Whatever, like, their caucus, the KGB caucus and the freedom crackheads that surround them, all those folks, if they manage to do anything, will immediately become suspicious. Like, how come they let that one through, huh? I bet there's a clause in there that pays for the adrenochrome.
Basically out of the news and start putting results in the news for the American people.
Uh-huh. I want results to be in the news. Do you, though? Do you really?
So I just want to reinforce this, though. Gonzalez has said he's not going to vote for the rules package. Nancy Mace is flirting with the idea of not voting for the rules package. Some people in our audience say, Charlie, we should have taken this for weeks. We should have kept going months to try to get Kevin not to be speaker. Now, you could want that and you can wish that, but the composition of the House is that Kevin McCarthy had 150 to, let's say, 100 moderates that weren't happy with any sort of conservative changes happening. And
by the way, I would like you to take this conversation that's happening and overlay it onto the TYTs of the world. It's exact same shit. It's exactly the same purity test bullshit. And then when the purity test fails, the same excuses, and then you turn whoever in your party who isn't just a fucking lunatic into the others. You might, like, I don't know why they're rhinos. They might as well all be Democrats anyways. Same shit.
And the moderates were getting ready to strike back. This is a good deal. It's been struck. We're ready to move forward. Can you just talk about how some of the moderates, more moderate members, Marjorie, have been, not so happy that you're going to be on a committee. They're not so happy that, these.
That big smile. It's like Christmas morning. If if daddy's out of town and the kids are at their grandparents and you're day drunk and a host of RSBN drop by to drop off a fruitcake, and then he accidentally tips it over, knocks it on the floor, and then you lean over to help him, and it's like you're both down there anyways.
These things are happening. Talk about that.
Yeah, let me give a little perspective for people that there's some things that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. You know why they don't know? Because they were all decided in backroom deals. You know, swampy shit. These fuckers. Honestly. Like, it is so ham-handed.
Last week was painful for some members of Congress, and I'll tell
No. It's just, sitting that long can be rough for anyone. But I would like to say that a lot of us enjoyed watching it, and a lot of our representatives enjoyed dunking on you assholes over and over again.
tell you why. The holding it out all week long, and I know some people just want to see nothing but full-on fights here in Congress, but holding it out all week hurt a couple of people. Roger Williams' wife had a stroke and she was in the hospital. She's still in the hospital. He could not go home to be with her because the 20 kept holding out.
Yeah. That didn't, by the way, when they were at that 20 vote, any one of them could have talked to the dude whose wife had a stroke and said, I'll vote present. I'm not ready to go with him yet, but it'll zero out what I'm doing so you can not be present here, and it'll make sure that one of our other votes counts. We'll go down to 19. What the fuck?
Wesley Hunt, his wife had a baby 4 weeks early. The baby was in the hospital, still in the hospital. The wife, his wife and mother, she had to go to the hospital. So there were some very, Kevin Hearn's mother passed away. So there were some very personal things happening that the public had no idea about.
Yeah, but it was better. It was better for the country. It was better that they went through that and we went through that, because it's good that people see that was, it's good that the American people didn't know those things were happening so they could find out after, so that I can either support or detract from people in my caucus willy-nilly based on whether I need to bring those details up or not,
There were great frustrations that grew while there were basically backroom deals being struck.
I mean, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the modern Republican Party. Yes, the Drain the Swamp crowd, hashtag Drain the Swamp, has come back in with buckets of swamp water and some weeping willow trees that they're going to plant right in the middle of the Congress. What are they? What's the whole point? What the fuck? How is that good? It was good that America saw what they saw out front, which is a bunch of chaos and somebody taking a poke at Matt Gaetz. But what they didn't see was the backroom deals and the chicanery going on and the fucking games of three-card Monte and reach-arounds and bullshit going on. For fuck's sake. Like, the comfort at the duplicity is I think... I'm not shocked. I just think it's hilarious.
It didn't have anything to do with rules packages. It had more to do about, hey, what committee assignments and things like that. That was what was going on. Now, I'm going to be honest with you again. I think we may have some moderates using this rules vote to their advantage to say.
First of all, okay. That right at that moment, she's about to dunk on Boebert and Gaetz in particular, but clearly Perry and others who are getting committee assignments and control points out of it that they will use to enrich themselves. And, I want to be on the committee that has the most opportunities for insider trading and that kind of shit. They're jockeying for those positions and like basically sitting back and not saying anything while that's happening. But now that the moderates are somehow just pushing back against one element that was added to the rules package, one, that a single member of Congress can move to vacate the speaker's chair, which seems fucking stupid, and a recipe for disaster for your own party, that those people are like, get that out of there. That's bullshit. They're not even asking that Margin and Boebert and Gaetz all lose their seats now. They're not asking for that.
Say, hey, I want this position. I want this committee assignment. And these are the things that I don't like, but they're happening.
Well, I guess, and you got to learn to live with it because that's the swamp.
And again, Charlie, I'll tell everyone, I don't have any agreement. I have no committee assignments. I haven't had any. I still don't have any. I just want to do the job for the people. And I really want our 222 Republicans to get on board with this agenda.
By the way, there's every reason to believe that she has no interest in being on any of the committees because that requires you to work and show up and do all that kind of stuff. She can do all of her grandstanding in the Congress without being on a committee. It doesn't matter to her. She's one of the top fundraisers anyways. So it's better for her to have the time off to be able to travel and fuck around and turn herself basically into the face of the party than to be on any committee. The people who are trying to be on committees are grabbing at the obvious brass ring, and she's trying to leapfrog over them. She has no interest in doing any of the homework. She knows she would look like a dumbass on any of these committees. She would embarrass herself. Her staff are embarrassing. She's employing Milo Yiannopoulos, for fuck's sake.
And this agenda is extremely America first. The agenda we have is for accountability.
By the way, you notice with these folks, it's America first, not Americans first. It's an important distinction. I understand Americans first doesn't have quite the kind of linguistic punch that America first does, but Americans first would take some work and would be closer to what Biden has been doing. These guys are America first because it can be their own version of the mythology that they enjoy, removed from any kind of reality, and they can aim for just the successful members of America, the people who make a shit ton of money, the dream of it or whatever, just like abstracts around it instead of actually putting the American people first.
It's for investigations. It's for the border. It's to hold China accountable.
And by the way, I showed you guys already. It's to hold China accountable with our select committee on the strategic competition between the United States and the Chinese Communist Party. Where's the firebrand language? Where is it? What are you talking about?
Stop the woke sexualization of our children and education. I'm excited to pass my bill. The Protect Children's Innocence Act.
Yeah, it's not going to pass. It's going to die in the Senate.
Stop the gender mutilation of kids under 18. I'm excited to audit Ukraine, and I have an agreement with many, even moderates in the conference to do that because.
No, she doesn't. By the way, they're going to basically have a conversation with Angus King, and it will die with that. Angus King just got back from Ukraine and spoke to, here, I'll see if I can bring this up real quick because I want to show you guys something. So Angus King just met with, he went over to Ukraine, he met with Zelensky, and let me see if I can find this, how far I have to go back, but yeah, here he is. Here, hold on one second. So Angus King went over, hold on, I got to shrink this down because it's too big. He went over to Ukraine and with a bunch of the people who are in charge of the financing and all that kind of stuff. And let me show you a little piece of, this is Angus King talking about how they are tracking the money.
A lot of work going on there on both sides. So that's that's one of the reasons that over 40 million people, one of the largest in Europe. And so there's the occupying force. And the war is right now in a kind of stalemate where both sides are dug in along the eastern border. And it's, when I say the eastern border, it's a strip about 100 miles deep into what was otherwise the nation of Ukraine. That is a very rough, a lot of casualties, almost like trench warfare in World War I. Some very serious battles taking place right now in most important town
Hold on one second.
is called
Let me speed
Bakhmut, and there's a lot of work going on there on both sides. So that's that's one of the reasons that in this latest drawdown of materials that the president announced on Friday while we were in Ukraine, as a matter of fact, are fighting vehicles, not tanks, but Bradley fighting vehicles and other equipment helpful to the Ukrainians in this sort of almost hand-to-hand combat to the east. The other war that's going on is Putin's war on civilians. Our last meeting of the day on Friday, as a matter of fact, was with the electric company. They have a nationwide electric company in Ukraine. We went to their headquarters, saw in fact where it had been.
He's trying to destroy it. Hold on a second.
Ukrainians are being very creative about keeping the grid up and running. The TV show MacGyver, where they're tank with these constant barrages. The other piece that's so important and is important in terms of the drawdown on Friday is air defense. The air defense about Vladimir Putin. Now, what I learned and observed is that this campaign is having the opposite effect. It's focused Russia for generations. Subdue Ukraine, attaches to learn what we're doing, and importantly, what other countries are doing. We're providing a huge amount in terms of dollar value. On the other hand, if you measure it in terms of GDP, we're around between fifth and 10th in the world, and other countries are contributing actually larger shares of their GDP to the defense of Ukraine. Why? Because they recognize, as hopefully we will continue to recognize, that this is really a fight for Western values. It's a fight for democracy. It's a fight for freedom. It's a fight against authoritarianism and dictatorship. And that's why it's so important. And it's important to.
By the way, I'm going to show you something in line with this, that after a while, very few things sort of like get my gander up and get my blood boiling. And this one did. I'll show you.
To us, I get letters every now and then from people saying, why are we doing this? Ukraine's far away. It's not our fight. Well, it is our fight, because if we don't fight it now, it will spread, and it will become something that we can't avoid being involved in, just as occurred in the late 30s at the beginning of World War II. This is the Sudetenland, 1938, where Hitler could have been stopped, but wasn't, because the West couldn't muster the will to resist. And the result, of course, was the tragedy of World War II. So that's why we're there. I came away impressed by the will of the Ukrainian people and their leadership, by their creativity, by the strength and determination that they're showing. And finally, spending an hour with Volodymyr Zelensky was inspiring. He's just
hold on.
So that's a little bit.
Good morning, Senator. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Well, as I mentioned, I raised it with him, and basically what I said was, look, if there's a scandal, in fact, I used these words. I said, if there's a scandal involving the misuse of these resources, that will jeopardize any additional resources flowing. He understood that. Then later on, we had a meeting with the Deputy Secretary of Defense and some of their technical people, where we had a PowerPoint demonstrating the software. They're using SAP software, which I see advertised in airports. It's a data maintenance software. And they're also working with Deloitte, the worldwide accounting firm, to work out the process by which, and what we saw, they put up on the screen, is spreadsheets with literally every spare part. And the question I asked is, okay, this is all very nice, but is anybody going out and actually physically taking inventory? counting what's there? And the answer is yes. And then we're doing the same thing. We have an inspector general at the Pentagon who's going to be in Ukraine, I think, within a month. And in talking to our people in the military, both in Poland and in Ukraine, we're driving accountability as well. Now, another part of the support we're providing is assisting with the maintenance of their essential services, particularly healthcare workers and teachers and educators. And in that case, our funds are used to reimburse, not to initially pay those salaries, but to reimburse. So a lot of record keeping and a lot of transparency. Now, we're talking about billions of dollars, and I can't sit here and guarantee that in every single case there are no issues, but I was very impressed by the level, number one, of concern and awareness of this issue, and number two, by the steps that they're taking to.
There you go. So when it comes time for this, I'm going to audit Ukraine. It's time to audit Ukraine. Two things are going to happen. It's going to be behind closed doors because any open audit of it would allow the Russians to know where every spare part is, know where every dollar is flowing, and therefore be able to prepare themselves if indeed the Ukrainians are planning an attack in one place but a head fake in another, which is exactly how they took Kharkiv. It's exactly how they took Kherson. It's how they're eventually going to take Crimea, no doubt. So what she's trying to do is have this audit before they take Crimea. It's not going to happen. Most of these rules don't even go into effect in terms of the committees and when they staff up and get rolling till April 15th. So this is fucking nonsense. Most of this war will be over by that time, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take Crimea well before that. If it had been a harsh winter, if there was going to be a harsh winter, if it wasn't unseasonably warm in Europe, there might have been a thing where this pushed in, a few more months into the year. But since it isn't, the Russians are not having time to use the freeze to kind of build up their stores and get ready to attack. And they're just taking hits nonstop. And that's not going to change anytime soon. Her audit, by the time it gets a rubber stamp on it and gets out the door, and any redacted part of it that hits the public eye, which is what she wants, don't make no mistakes. What the Audit Ukraine crowd wants amongst them is for effectively a financial map to be handed to the Kremlin so they know where all our money is, so they can hit all the areas where our money ain't. That's it. Now, there's no guarantee that the Europeans aren't patching in the areas where we aren't. Very much, it's very much possible they would be. However, it definitely points to strategic alignment of financial help and military aid and spare parts and all that shit. And that's what she wants. Make no mistake about it. Fuck her and that whole crowd, because what she wants to do is tie one of Ukraine's legs to a tree and call it a fair fight. Other than that, I have no opinion.
I don't want any more money going to Ukraine. I'm sick and tired of it.
Yes, I
care
agree
about
completely.
About our.
Look at these assholes. Yeah, me too. I totally believe it. I don't like it. Why can't we just leave him alone? Look at his face. Jesus Christ. My mom said Bobo, little devil, we're not allowing the house.
So I want people to know that just because someone calls themselves conservative or someone is a moderate, it doesn't mean that they're always right or they're always wrong.
Oh my fucking God. The nerve of this woman. So basically, what did they do? Did they have some sort of giant MAGA straw man that they burned in effigy this weekend? They all just took a duke on his head and then stood it up and set fire to it. CSL saying very true. Same thing we use the myth. Same reason we use the myth of $10,000 toilets to misdirect where funds are flowing for prying eyes. It's exactly right. I love when people talk about like the U.S. military doesn't know shit. They $500 for a hammer. Like, okay, motherfucker, you think $500 really went to a hammer? Really? Really? Do you really? Some people cannot be helped.
I want people to take personalities off the table.
She means Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert.
Let's just be about doing the job that we're elected to do.
Oh, fuck you.
And that's what I'm employed.
That's why I'm really ready to do the work that the American people want me to do. And the first thing I'm going to do is try and pass a social agenda bill that will never leave the House. And then I don't have any committees. So I just go home, or am I allowed to just fuck off, or?
Exploring everyone in our conference to do, and that's what I'm asking our voters in the base and people that really care about MAGA and America First. Let's do that, because
yeah, you guys gotta look MAGA, look America First. I know we used a lot of incendiary talk. I know we talked to them about, fighting and never giving up and all that, but sometimes you gotta give up a little and then to get some, and then in the middle, like, this is what happens when the people who use the fight talk all the time end up having to actually get something fucking done that involves other human beings who aren't in the fucking cult. We've seen it on our side. And we've seen the rage that accompanies it. The difference is that the rage that accompanies this kind of bullshit, when it happens on the Democratic side, they're not armed. They're not fucking storm the Capitol lunatics.
I'm tired of being the party of never. I want to be the party that fights the Democrats, defeats their radical ideology. And I want to be the party that actually proves to the American people that we're America First and we are for them all the way.
Yeah, and the way we want to do that is because we want to come in late in the game and we'll just stop the debt ceiling. We'll just do that. I don't know what we replace it with or how we solve it, and we obviously can't cut anything on the the level. And it's kind of like saying, look, we can stay in the house, but we got to sell the garage. And we'll anybody in the house that has a car, doesn't have a car, who cannot vote, except me. And we're gonna keep the house but sell the garage. We could patch the roof or sell the garage. What are we doing? Well, who the fuck are we selling the garage to? It's still attached to the house. Anyone can live in it. Anyone can buy it. We're just going to do that instead of fixing the roof and the windows and the lock on the door and the constant repairs and the water bill. Instead of that, we're going to sell the garage. And that's what there's and that's the argument. That's what will be the argument in their little back rooms when McCarthy when she's doing these rounds after the debt ceiling pass.
So there was a very interesting phone call that took place, and some of the holdouts we're losing support amongst the people that I communicate with. So I was communicating with some great grassroots patriots, some big donors that were with some of the.
Were they the same big donors that George Santos's chief of staff, or I don't know if it was his chief of staff, one of his staff members posed as Kevin McCarthy's chief of staff in calls to donors to raise money for him? Yeah, that's a story. Whew.
The holdouts, because they were getting some information about the blow up of some, conversation, all that. But then they said, listen, if it's Friday evening and you're still voting for somebody that has no chance to be speaker, and my theory is on the 14th round of voting that there was a miscommunication, that somebody thought the threshold was something that it wasn't, and that.
Yeah, they don't do math.
This is my working theory, that they actually thought that it was going to pass. Is that correct, Marjorie? Because it didn't look like it was a triumphant thing. And then Kevin walks over to Matt Gaetz, and they kind of have somewhat of a heated conversation. And then Mike Rogers.
Yeah, what did Lauren Boebert say to you, Marge? You're not going to bring that up? Fuck what, McCarthy, we all know he's a wuss and didn't say shit. And we know that, Gaetz is a snipey little weasel who didn't raise his voice. But you guys saw that, right? You guys saw the, hold on. Marge and the exchange between Marge and Lauren Boebert. It was quick. Blink and you miss it. Hold on. I'm gonna find this for you real quick. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Just in case blink and you miss it. She said, get the fuck out of my face. Lauren Boebert telling Marjorie Taylor Greene to get the fuck out of my face after the Georgia rep warned her to stop blocking Kevin McCarthy's election as House Speaker. Voop, get the fuck out of my face. Good times. Yeah, but the problem is we're too focused on personalities, guys.
Rogers comes over and like lunges at Matt Gaetz and somebody has to pull him back. And in some ways it was actually transparently real.
Oh, for fuck's sake. It was, we were letting America know just what unhinged, confused, mathematically deficient assholes we are. It was refreshing.
Because that, okay, wow, this is not theatrics, but in some sense it actually kind of was.
Who are these people? Do they even know? Good Lord. It was kind of, at least it wasn't theatrics, or it kind of was. And it's, it's a good thing, but it's kind of bad when people see that. But it's also kind of a plus, but maybe a minus.
But
Jesus.
Then you started to make phone calls. And so is it true that you then called Donald Trump?
Yeah, he did the math.
And started to try to pass the phone around to some of the holdouts? Walk us through that.
Yes, well, and you're so smart, Charlie. Wow, you great. You did a good job of breaking that down. And
no, he didn't. What are you talking about?
That is, in fact, what was happening. I talked.
Oh, okay. Well, too, he did a fairly good job describing utter chaos.
To President Trump very frequently. I will never back away from my loyalty to President Trump. I want him back in the White House. He's the only guy I'm supporting for 2024.
For now.
He is, in fact, the leader of the Republican Party.
Yeah, that's why he talked to the holdouts and said, you guys should all vote for McCarthy. And they all voted present.
His early endorsement and support.
By the way, after Trump called, Gosar and others who were voting for McCarthy with their tail between their legs and their head down, switched their vote to present. When Trump told them, first of all, when Trump told Gaetz and Boebert to vote for McCarthy, they voted present. When he told the others that were already voting for McCarthy or had already in at least one vote, they went back to voting present. The fuck?
For Kevin McCarthy, it helped us hold the 201 Republicans supporting and voting for Kevin McCarthy the entire week. No one fell away. And President Trump.
Well, yeah, because what are they going to do? And by the way, first of all, no one fell away. No, it didn't. No, he didn't. It was at 201 because of the people that fell away. It was originally started out as like 214 or some shit. During his introduction to this whole argument, he lost 15 fucking people.
Trump had a big part and role into that. And the 20 that were holding out, never forget, these were all President Trump endorsed candidates. They have rode the MAGA train the entire time in their career.
Yeah, but they're in the seat now. They're elected. He's not elected to anything. They got a job to keep. They have to get reelected. He knows he's fucked.
Careers, most of them have, and the new members, the new freshmen, they came in because of President Trump and his strong endorsement.
No, a bunch of them lost because they were Trumpites.
President Trump had been calling them, telling everyone, let's get this over with.
Right, because he doesn't care.
Let's get our job. Let's get the gavel and let's hold the Biden administration accountable. And I'd been talking to him earlier, so I called him up and I said, President Trump, we need your help. It just fell apart again on the 14th ballot, and he wanted to talk to Matt Rosendale. And so I said, great, I'm going to find him.
Rosendale voted present.
I'll get him on the phone for you. And I
Put up
found
that
Matt
picture.
Rosendale. Yeah, he was right across the aisle. And I said, Matt, President
Yeah, and he's like, fuck off, I'm voting present.
Trump wants to talk with you. Can you please talk with President Trump?
Rosendale, by the way, previously on the earlier vote, voted for McCarthy. And then he went back to present
Matt Rosendale
after this. So, titular head of the party.
blew up, yelled at me and screamed at me. Don't you ever do that to me, Marjorie. Don't you ever do this. And he was throwing his hand up and refusing to talk to President Trump.
Hold on, what? You don't... Look, you don't refuse to talk to David Koresh when we're all in Waco, you know?
But I'm telling you, that was key in everything that was happening. And
What? How is he the control point if she's like, talk to him, you have to talk to him? He's like, fuck off, you nutcase. And then he voted present. The shit? This is, by the way, this is what you call cooperation. This is how we get along in our own little way. You might not understand it, but it's how we've kept this marriage working for all these years.
it was also, I want you to know, that pressure within our conference of these poor members and their families.
Oh,
and
the poor, because they're in that situation because Kevin McCarthy's such a silly putty spined asshole that he couldn't work this out months ago. And ultimately, what was the holdup? One element of the rules package that won't pass. Which, by the way, should we check in? I don't know if they're voting on it yet. Let's see. See if it passed ultimately. Debate on the rules package. C-SPAN, the thing you want to do in your underpants. I don't know what the theme's saying. Hold on. Whoops. Motion to commit. This is the current. Send rules for the 118th back to committee. I see. They're voting no or send it back to committee. Somebody made a motion to send it back to committee. So time's up. It's 2:21 to 2:09, 2:10 to it'll be 2:12 to 2:20 because I think two people are missing. So yeah, that's going on right now. We'll keep an eye on that. I'll keep that open in a side window while. Hold on, wait.
The nays are 220. The motion is not adopted. The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Resolution is agreed to. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
On that, I ask for a recorded vote.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring by taking a vote by the... Second. Does the gentleman ask for the yeas and nays?
That doesn't count.
Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Yeas and nays.
Yeas and nays are ordered. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. Sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. Again, pursuant to the order of the House of today, this
is fucking chaos. It's so funny. They're just like rambling around.
Is a 5-minute vote.
The new rules make it a 2-minute vote, by the way, because they think that since they've got control of the gavel, they can wait until enough people are away and then call the vote and they won't have time to get back.
And the House now voting to approve the rules for the 118th Congress. Some proposed changes in the rules include a motion to vacate the chair, which would allow one member to force a vote on removing the House Speaker. Another would require all bills be posted 72 hours before a final
one
vote.
Republican nay.
COVID-19 safety rules from last
Already?
year allowing proxy voting and members participating virtually in hearings are not going to be allowed this Congress. If
they
the
get
rules are
4
approved, the
of
House
these
will then take up legislation to
nays.
rescind $80 billion in IRS funding approved under the Inflation Reduction
Then
Act.
it doesn't pass. I know of 2 for sure. There they are. There's the 2. The question is oh, nope, went back to 1. They pushed the wrong button. Everybody's walking around. I promise not to use it. I promise. Like I said, we'll keep this up and running. I'll let. Oh, came back. There we go. 2 of them. Let's see. I don't know how long, because this isn't in order like they did with the speaker vote. So they very well could reach the nays in this, in this short order. One Democrat voted yay and then fixed it. Nope, that went away. They're like, which one are we voting on? It's such a fucking mess in there right now. Because there's no rules. There's no rules package right now. It's just... stay classy, House of Congress. That's fun. Should we just hang out together and see? Yeah, we need 5. Is it 5 again? Yeah. We'll see. 2 voted against it. That's Mace and one other, I guess. We'll see. Whether they're present or not or being harangued outside. So 5 and 2 minutes, 48 seconds. We'll see. 45 is good. It's holding right now. The nays are slightly ahead, but we'll see if the yays pick it up at all. I don't know if they're gonna. There's still, more more Republicans haven't voted yet. In this, we'll see if any of the people who were against it are not present. We shall see what we shall see. See if it gets a third sometime soon. Hard to say. The no votes would be, laggers at this point. Ultimately, again, this doesn't change much at all, except for the Republicans. They ultimately, somebody switched their nay back to a yay. Somebody got talked out of it. So there's only one right now. Looks like it's going to pass in its current form, or somebody unvoted. Somebody went back to non-voting. Hype train. Thanks, everybody. Welcome. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Sometimes we look at clips, and sometimes it happens live. And now is one of those. This is the actual rules package. The only difference between this and the one they did before. And by the way, you remember how when we looked at the Paris Climate Accord, for example, and the Republicans and a lot of right-wingers were saying, oh my God, we're going to get, we'll be under the control of Europe and the World Economic Forum and control, and they can destroy our economy by forcing these things, whatever. And every single paragraph in that fucking thing is, if a country is able to do this without any difficulty or damage to its economy, then they should. All of the elements of the Paris Accord are written like that, every last one of them. Okay, the same soft language is in the rules package as well. As long as it doesn't break any other laws, which there are plenty of other laws they don't know about, then we can do this. And if we do this, we do what we do, and we do what we did to we do it, then it'll stay. Like every element of it has all the politispeak you would expect from a weaselly rules package they want to be able to get out of if it doesn't help them. For fuck's sake, their anti-Chinese Communist Party thing is called strategic cooperation. Hey, dumb fuck, we're in strategic cooperation with China as a country, but we're in absolute conflict with the CCP itself. How hard is that to fucking figure out? If you said, the strategic competition between the United States and China committee, that would make sense. But the fact that they make it the Chinese Communist Party, specifically in it, and still only put strategic competition is a bunch of horseshit. The Communist Party doesn't even do the technological, innovation or what have you that we're supposed to be in competition with. It's stupid. So 211 to 217. Looks like it'll pass. Oh, no, it's short of the... No, they got 218 to 211. Unless all these other non-votes pop over, and it's still not enough. Unless anybody wants to change their vote in the end. And there it goes. There it passes. They had one Nancy Mace hanging out by herself. Good for her, because she's in a purple district. But it won't matter anyways, because the minute you vacate, the next person's up to those rules.
These terrible issues that were happening, and it was like, okay, enough. You've extracted enough, your pound of flesh here.
She doesn't know where her analogies are born from, so she doesn't know how awful they are.
You've done it. Let's care about people. And President Trump is saying, get it done. Get it.
Yeah, that's why he called, because he cares about people. Not, this is embarrassing, which is the only emotion he actually feels.
It over with. And it was President Trump, his phone calls and his words to members that I believe it was key in getting this thing across the line. And we have the gavel. This is
oh my God, this is so exciting, y'all.
something people need to celebrate. And this was
yeah, it's a fucking squeaker, dipshit. And you almost ate yourselves alive. No votes are 3, 215, time remaining is 0. It looks like it's going to pass.
a team effort with President Trump.
It is. We all got together where he really he came off the bench and he stood about 18 feet away from our person who was at bat and screamed at them, and they said, fuck off, and took the walk. That's what happened. Level 2 hype train. Welcome, by the way, if you're just joining us at twitch.tv/HalSparks. Thank you for being here. Hey, if you're in the Steph chat on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays when I'm doing my thing right after, I'll pop on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays a little early just to be sitting there so that you can tell Chris or whoever's running it over there to raid me and everybody can just bounce straight over. I'm just saying. It's not a bad thing. Just throwing that out there.
Many Republicans and all the conversations and the negotiations, we should be celebrating today.
Yeah, this is so fun. It went exactly like it was supposed to, y'all.
No one should be mad anymore.
Yeah, nobody. Stop being mad. Laura Loomer.
We should be cheering because we are ready to roll. And
No, their first 3 bills are anti-abortion bills that will die in the House, even if you passed them even if you manage to pass them, which is doubtful. They're not going to pass the Senate. That's not rolling. That's revving the engine in the fucking garage with the door closed.
ready to go. I can't imagine anybody being upset about having the gavel and the control here in the House, because we've been under Nancy Pelosi while she has been leading the effort and the legislation.
Yeah, that the word leading stands out, I think, too. Unlike
And the attacks on our country, our constitution.
Hold on, they're reading it. Hold on 1 second.
Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Go.
Yeah. I move to vacate the Speaker's chair. Does it only take one member of the caucus to do that, or can any random Democrat just call for that vote just to fuck with everybody too? I think it's just got one Republican, right? Since it's a rule, not a law.
The House will be in order. Members, you can take your conversations from the floor. Clear the aisle, clear the well. The House has business to conduct. The House will be in order.
Will it, though?
Clear the aisles. Take a seat or your conversations from the floor. For what purpose does the gentleman from Oklahoma seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I offer a privileged resolution and ask for its immediate consideration.
The clerk will report the resolution.
House Resolution 6. Resolved that unless otherwise recorded, the hour of daily meeting of the House shall be 2 p.m. on Mondays, noon on Tuesdays, or 2 p.m. if no legislative business was conducted on the preceding Monday, noon on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and 9 a.m. on all other days of the week.
That's what I call ready to roll.
Without objection, the resolution is agreed to. The motion to reconsider is laid on the table. For what purpose does the gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole, seek
The
recognition?
Speaker, I offer a privileged concurrent resolution and ask for its immediate consideration.
The clerk will report the concurrent resolution.
House Concurrent Resolution 1. Resolved by the House of Representatives that the Senate concurring that pursuant to Clause 4 and Section 5 of Article 1 of the Constitution, during the 118th Congress, the Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader of the Senate, or their respective designees, acting jointly after consultation with the Minority Leader of the House and the Minority Leader of the Senate, may notify the members of the House and the Senate, respectively, to assemble at a place outside the District of Columbia if, in their opinion, the public interest shall warrant it.
Without objection, the concurrent resolution is agreed to, and the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. For what purpose does the gentleman from Louisiana, the Majority Leader,
I
Mr.
got another one.
Scalise, seek
I got
recognition?
a stack.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that during the 118th Congress, the Speaker, Majority Leader, and Minority Leader be authorized to accept resignations and to make appointments authorized by law or by the House.
Without objection.
It's all
Mr.
standard
Speaker,
business.
From Louisiana.
I also ask unanimous consent that during the 118th Congress, all members be permitted to extend their remarks and to include extraneous material within the permitted limit in that section of the record entitled Extensions of Remarks.
Without objection. Gentleman from Louisiana.
Can they
Mr.
hold up
Speaker, I ask
tweets?
unanimous consent that during the first session of the 118th Congress, on legislative days of Monday or Tuesday when the House convenes pursuant to House Resolution 6, the House shall convene 2 hours earlier than the time otherwise established by the resolution for the purpose of conducting morning hour debate. On legislative days of Wednesday or Thursday when the House convenes pursuant to House Resolution 6, the House shall convene 2 hours earlier than the time otherwise established by the resolution for the purpose of conducting morning hour debate. When the House convenes pursuant to an order other than House Resolution 6, the House shall convene for the purpose of conducting morning hour debate only as prescribed by such order. The time for morning hour...
Yeah, basically, the Republicans are like, I want more camera time.
...appointed for the resumption of the session of the House, and the form of proceeding for morning hour debate shall be as follows. The prayer by the chaplain, the approval of the journal, and the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag shall be postponed until resumption of the session of the House. Initial and subsequent recognitions for debate shall alternate between the parties.
So they're going to debate without the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance being said before, so that the idea is, I guess, they are outside of their oath. Curious.
Minority Leader or the Minority Whip. No legislative business shall be in order except the filing of privileged reports, and following morning hour debate, the chair shall declare a recess pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1 until the time appointed.
Yeah, they're just making Scalise do all the jerkwater work. That's pretty common. There's so much of that shit that just has to be done as a matter of course. Otherwise, you can't tell when somebody's breaking the rules if you don't have any.
Constitution and the American people, and she has been getting the job done for Joe Biden. Well, that ended on Friday night because we got...
No, it didn't, because the stuff she got done actually lasts until next year, and even beyond.
The gavel. We won, and President Trump, his voice being there.
Be his voice on high, be it almighty, and shine down upon us in all of his orangey, gooey, sweaty goodness.
On the floor on the phone was just such a great...
It was so great, even though the guy was holding his hand out and saying, fuck off, I don't need to talk to that dickhead right now. But he said it in a way that I knew he didn't really mean it.
Just a great thing for me to be a part of, and I'm so happy that everyone knew that that's who was on that phone.
Well, we sure shit know it wasn't your ex.
Friday night.
Yeah, I think that that wins the Getty image of the pictures of the year so far.
No, it absolutely fucking does not. I think the Mike Rogers getting his mouth covered as they're pulling him off, beating the shit out of Matt Gaetz. I think that's the Getty image of the whole thing.
I mean, it very.
Oh yeah.
It's very, very powerful in more ways than one.
Why? Again, she's holding up the phone, and the dude is saying "fuck off."
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And that's someone in her party.
Stay right there, and we are going to get the the alleged lip reading of Matt Gaetz and Kevin McCarthy's exchange. If you haven't seen the video, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. All right,
well, and but we're all having fun, aren't we, Charlie? Because everything's going so well.
Subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast. What do we have? Balance in nature.
Oh, selling shit now. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Hi, thanks for being here. They're going through the rules right now, and this is, let's see. Let me get here. Yeah. So that was pretty stupid, I would guess. Like as far as takes on things, and I mean there's a massive amount of turd polishing going on the right wing right now, and it is a glorious thing to see. I'm enjoying myself thoroughly. Every single one of these videos where like it was actually, I think it's a positive because I had a and that is when there are no good lies, everybody will just gang up and like kind of pile on the most common one, which is, I just think it's good that we're seeing this. This is transparency, that business. And again, one of the people who gives us some of the dumbest takes we see on the show is, of course, Dan Bongholio, who calls in on this on Fox and Friends, right right in the middle of their like creepazoid fucking blocking that they have with the flowers and the chick in the short skirt sitting in the middle of the two dudes. It just fucking creeps me out. For fuck's sake. Get a table that covers everyone's laps. You cretins. It's gross. It's like they have the woman in the middle and it's only so that they can wait to, everybody at home going, maybe she'll basic instinct us. Today's the day. It's so gross. It's so fucking gross. Anyways, Bongholio either calls in or visits. We'll see. But he says, Dan Bongino, I've never been prouder of the country. Are you out of your fucking mind?
We love to hear from Dan Bongino, friend of the show. Dan.
Yeah, that's totally true. They put it in the teleprompter, so I had to say.
Great to see you. Big news overnight. I don't know if you were watching live, but you've certainly seen it. 14th vote, didn't quite go. It was a tie. 15th vote. Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House. Your reaction to this process and the outcome?
Okay, I got a lot to say about this, so just grab your coffee, ladies and gents, and stand by.
None of it will be coherent or worth hearing. It'll just be a lot of bloviating, blather of the kind of shit we've heard before.
So a couple things.
All right, number one.
Number one, to the crowd out there that was whining and moaning and wetting their diapers about, oh my gosh, it's chaos, what a clown show. You can shut your pie hole.
Okay, first of all, none of us were, the people saying it's a clown show, I mean, other than Sean Hannity, by the way, I think that's what it was. I think maybe he's just telling Sean Hannity to shut his pie hole, which I'm fine with. But as far as like our side of the aisle, I breathed easy during the whole fucking thing. I don't know about you, right? Didn't you? Huh? I enjoyed it. I almost ran out of popcorn. There will never be enough.
Okay, this is a constitutional republic. It's not North Korea. We don't go with Kim Jong-un behind closed doors and beat the crap out of people.
Hey, dum-dum. The rules package changes and the committee assignments that were offered as a way of getting votes all happen behind closed doors. The fuck are you talking about?
Do is we negotiate. We did it on this channel. Fox News carried the majority of this live.
No, you didn't. You carried the votes live, fucko. You didn't have a camera inside his office.
Every single American citizen in this God-fearing country that I love so much got to see on live television. If you just turned on the TV, you can even turn on C-SPAN. I think it's free. You don't even have to pay.
It is. And welcome to Earth.
Pay for cable, right? You could have watched your elected representatives in a constitutional republic hash out their differences in front of the entire world. They
didn't hash out their differences. He bought their votes and he didn't even get them. They ultimately, he gave away the whole fucking store and they voted present. He didn't get their votes.
It's a glorious thing to watch.
It was glorious. I will say this part in particular, right when Rep. Rogers comes out and tries to choke Matt Gaetz.
And I've never been prouder of our country. And I want to say to the 20 holdouts.
What? And again, the what?
Who got massive concessions that will control spending and bring more sanity to the House. I want to thank you on behalf of the conservative movement, because think about it.
One thing changed from the rules from Monday to Sunday. One, single person move to vacate, which a large portion of the 20 were against. That's what moved them over, is that they thought they're going to start losing other stuff, so they dumped it. And by the way, it's not his fault. He's stupid. He doesn't know these things. He didn't know. You couldn't, like, honest to God, he hasn't looked at the rules package. He hasn't even heard the talk about it. This is all just a show for him. The idea that this somehow looks awesome is fucking absurd.
In less than 5 days,
less than 5 days? When's the last time it took more than a day?
Probably got more done to restrain spending in the next couple of years.
No, again, none of those rules, the balanced budget vote, the stuff about the debt ceiling, all that stuff was already in the rules package. Already. This fuckhead does not know that. But that's it. All that stuff was agreed on months ago. This has nothing to do with those things.
Than a lot of crap talkers in the Republican Party did in the last 50. It's
true.
So again, to the whiny...
What do you mean it's fucking... Well, I would agree. Republicans don't govern, so that's, again, world's loudest whisper, world's tallest midget.
Money crowd sitting there going, oh my gosh, the people will remember this. And this looks so chaotic. You know what? You're damn right they'll remember it, and I'll remember it too. It's one of the first times a bunch of elected conservatives went to Congress, said they were going to stand up for something, and then actually did it.
And then they didn't actually do anything. It was the same when they started this bullshit as when it ended, except for one of them can stick a fork in him anytime they fucking want to. One, not five, one. They don't even have to gaggle about it. You think this asshole isn't going to go, all right, in 4 months, I start my plan to run for president, or whatever the fuck he thinks he's going to do next, or senator, whatever's available in fucking Florida. You don't think that asshole's going to use that as his tee-off point?
And that's what I'm going to remember.
Dan, where do you see this going then? In this victory that has been accomplished, this actual accomplishment on behalf of the conservative movement, what's next then?
Yeah, what are they going to do with this fresh, hot power?
For those who represent that.
Well, the concessions are important. I mean, you've got a reinstitution of the Holman Rule, which allows them to cut the
already in there before all this bullshit.
Salaries of some of these swamp rat employees who are working not for but against the United States. You've got some mechanism now for spending restraint, pairing budget cap increases with spending cuts.
That was already in there too.
These are real things. Now, there's some people out there fairly on the conservative side saying, well, what's the guarantee they're going to stick to the deal? You know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a good answer for you that. The only guarantee is we got it now on paper, and it's going to be really hard for them in primaries to run away from it now that they got a deal if they break it
and
later.
They have a motion to vacate,
so I hope,
Dan. They can vacate.
And we got a one-member motion to vacate, which is really ridiculously powerful. I want to add...
Yeah, it is ridiculously powerful, I suppose, if you want to tack
one more thing, too. You know, listen, this is over, and I'd like to see some unity going forward. But going forward, I'd highly recommend...
All right, I'm going to tell you guys about Balance in Nature.
What the heck?
It's a terrific product. Look, new year, new you, right? Well, you guys need to make sure you get the fruits and veggies that you need to be able to get you...
It made my other video start. Beg your pardon. Where is this nonsense? Okay, where was he?
Side saying, well, what's the guarantee they're going to stick? Calling your political allies... Yes, allies. Motion to vacate, which is this is over, and I'd like to see some unity going forward. But going forward, I'd highly recommend people like the Dan Crenshaws of the world and the Don Bacons of the world that calling your political allies, yes, allies in your movement, calling them enemies and terrorists, maybe take a course in public communication. Listen, Crenshaw's got a decorated
Oh, you mean the way you talk about your fellow Americans all the fucking time?
history with the United States military, which I honor and deeply respect. He left a piece of himself on the battlefield, and you have my ultimate respect for doing that. However, that does not make you a gifted politician. And calling people
you don't have the gifts that Dan Bongholio has.
terrorists and enemies when you claim to be part of the Republican Party is about the most asinine thing I've ever seen. And please, if you can't handle yourself better, then stay off TV. You're not helping the situation on. And Don Bacon calling for, maybe we'll just...
So he should self-censor, or should Fox just not let him on? Is that how it works? I don't know if that's in the real
go
rules
work with
package.
the Democrats. Really, Don? Don's from Nebraska. You really believe that's what your constituents voted for? You to be voting for with Democrats to pick a speaker? Come on, guy. Give it a rest. That my old baseball coach used to say that when you screwed up. He'd say, come on, guy. It's time to wake up.
Come on, guy. Because he didn't bother to learn your name, it still burns. It still stings, doesn't it? That's so sad. We should just call him Guy Bongholio from now on.
We voted for conservatives, not a continuance of the same old garbage.
I feel
you mean the backroom deals and the... Oh, never mind.
exactly the same way. We voted for conservatives, not necessarily, not that they're one and the same with Republicans. Meaning I have thought, we have for too long thought of this as a team-based sport.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't trust anybody if I was you. I mean, what are you going to do? Take for granted that they're on your side? I don't know. You should come up with something where they have to, like, prove their worth every time you talk to them, because you never know when they're going to turn. Just saying. The other side is, it's like a tractor beam. They could be pulled into communism. Who knows?
And it's simply that Republicans represent conservatives when we need to make sure that is the case. And Dan, I can't think of a time in my lifetime when that's been a bigger shifting ground underneath our feet. In a world of censorship and vaccine mandates, we need to figure out who stands for what and how we're going to...
Yeah. How do I even know you're really a Republican? Just because you're an elected Republican.
I'm going to go forward with this, and I don't mean this gratuitously, and I'm going to tee you up for this. Your show has been one of the places where we've had these conversations. What does it mean? You know a lot about civics, you know a lot about philosophy.
No. I mean, compared to Fox and Friends staff in general, yeah. But that's true of, your average third grader with a railroad spike through his head.
And what's it mean? I can expect you're going to begin to have, or continue to have, those conversations tonight on Unfiltered.
Well,
thanks for teeing us up. Absolutely. I'm looking for a teepee for my bunghole.
one of the reasons I enjoy working here is
because of the vaccine mandate at work?
we have a variety of voices. There are a lot of hosts here who felt differently than I did.
Yeah. The ones that think shit through.
And that's fine. They have different sources and different reasons, okay?
You have no sources and no reasons. There's two sides of every coin.
My show tonight, in the open, we acknowledge that good, and we're glad it's over. We got a speaker. We got what we could get. We took the win. We got massive wins for the conservative movement. But I want to point out tonight how all the people in the media talking about this was some kind of clown show. Listen to my monologue tonight.
No. I'll look at it in a couple days. I'm just not, it's not really anything motivating me to, not this anyways. I mean, I understand you're there on Fox and Friends to plug your show later because the ratings suck and they're having you on. That's nice of them that you're on the Saturday Fox and Friends. I don't know why they won't have you on the regular weekday where the real ratings are. I don't know. That's a question you're going to have to ask someone at the place you love to work. But I'm going to guess that it's because you suck and you're annoying and you don't offer anything and you're just kind of belligerent and weird. Same reason you're not on the 5 anymore or on, what's the other show they have? Outnumbered, their version of The View plus a dude.
Where I talk about the real clown show. What happened with the Democrats while the media was busy insulting us for fighting for spending restraint and prosperity in the Republic. I want you to see what the Democrats were doing. Wait till I lay it out in the monologue. You want to see a real clown show? Watch that. And one more thing I want to...
Which, you can't give us a hint? You mean the part where they were just voting for their leader lockstep so that no votes would go to you guys because that's smart?
Mentioned too. I'll get into tonight a little bit as well. Listen.
Yeah, a little, not a lot. Don't expect all your questions to be answered. That's why there has to be a sequel.
For all these people like, oh, and the Democrats, they always stick together and we don't. Good. I'm not the Borg. I'm not a damn automaton. I'm a conservative Republican. And conservative Republicans are uniquely...
So would you have voted for McCarthy or would you have voted with the MAGA crowd? Because the conservatives, in theory, voted with McCarthy. It was the MAGA types, the ultra-conservative, the ultra-MAGA, they voted against. I mean, it's a label. Who gives a shit?
Entrepreneurial. They believe in liberty and freedom, and we don't all think alike. And we got to a conclusion. It took a couple of days. We got some of what we wanted. The more moderate wing got some of what they wanted. We've got...
Did they? You mean the whole thing that they worked out beforehand? You got one thing? Well, you got committee
a
seats.
speaker, and the business of the House will continue. It is a glorious day for the Republic. Everyone should celebrate it
Yes, I am. I'm celebrating. My nipples are hard. It's very exciting.
today. You shouldn't. There's no reason to hide your head in shame.
No. It's, just because things haven't gotten this fucked up in 100 years and it's shit you could have worked out months ago fairly easily, and even though, like, the one change is just going to be a recipe for more chaos, celebrate.
That's a left-wing media garbage narrative. It was a glorious week.
It was glorious, and we glory in our great leader, Donald John Trump, and the rays of orange sunshine that spray in fumes from his asshole.
I enjoyed every second of it.
Sure he did.
I agree with you. If they
Well, I mean, I'd enjoy every second of it, but others, like for the dull moments, the people trying to attack Matt Gaetz' part, kind of, there were peaks and valleys.
voted 100 times, fine. If it takes us to a place where we get these kinds
That's
of
right.
conceptions, it's
Conceptions?
fantastic. And I'm sure you saw it, Dan, and we got to go. Hakeem Jeffries gave a disgusting speech before
Oh, it's disgusting. So disgusting.
giving it to Kevin McCarthy,
He did give it to Kevin McCarthy, I will say.
impugning everything. So be careful what's behind Nancy Pelosi, because there's a lot of radicals in that Democrat Party right
Oh, man, they're radicals. Radical!
now, and they're in control.
Yeah, and luckily we've got now some good, strong rules to restrain some of the stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
Pete joins
No.
me tonight on the show, too. We've got a couple hot take stories you probably missed this week
Probably did, because we were watching the actual news.
with the drama, including Hillary Clinton is now a professor, so Pete has some funny comments about that,
Oh, it's hilarious. It's so funny.
too.
Like chicks teaching? I mean, don't even.
Yes,
Is teaching in some school or something.
I know, some chick teaching at some school or whatever.
I don't miss that.
Yeah, it's just a senator and secretary of state and, yeah. Dude, what does she know, right? I wear a t-shirt and a suit jacket like a stand-up from 1987 to work. What does she know?
Can't wait to take that course. Dan Bongino, thank you, brother.
Thanks, Dan.
Great
Have
to
a
see you.
great day.
Yeah, I know, like chick politics. Oh my God, I'm alone here.
Guys, take care.
I'm Steve.
Yeah, see you later. Okay, great. That's so good. Fun. I'm over. That was magic. That was everything we expected and so little. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm trying to reset every time I switch to clips so that I get my shit together, and I hope you appreciate it. I bore myself even talking about it. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, support the show. I'm the only one. I mean, they post these things. This is their argument. This is their statement. This is their I don't know, their sales pitch to you on their philosophy, their ideals, and their capabilities. Unlike, say, excuse me one second, the U.S. House, which is Mike Thompson.
The IRS. But here's the reality. When the IRS doesn't have the funding it needs, two very bad things happen. The very wealthy tax cheats are able to avoid paying their fair share.
Right, they're doing the repeal of the 87,000, the funding for the 87,000 IRS agents, right, which is, you need like that number of forensic accountants to go after the people who use all the loopholes illegally and cheat on a big scale. You know, figuring out somebody's just stealing and not paying or whatever, that's easy. By the way, this is Outnumbered, where Bill Hemmer is, or I think it's him. Is that Hemmer in the middle? No, who is it? I don't know who it is. But one of these things is not like the others. One of these things just doesn't belong. It's like revenge. For Fox and Friends, they have 4 ladies sitting on the outside, and then there's a guy sitting in the middle. They don't make him wear loose shorts and no underwear, though. So, is it really even? Where's the fairness? Where's the fair and balance?
Border agents.
Oh, hold on 1 second. I gotta go here.
Hello, everyone. This
Hi.
is Outnumbered.
I don't want to bum you out. You're doing a great job. Everyone is not watching. Everyone who is watching is a group, but they're not everyone, and they know it, and it makes them sad when you say
To address the crisis.
Oh, quit it. Hold on. It's turning on C-SPAN on me. So hold on. I've got to shut C-SPAN for the time being while they work that out. Here we go.
I'm Emily Campagno here with my co-host Harris Faulkner, and also joining us today, Martha McCallum, Lisa Booth, and former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins.
Really? This is the happiest day of Doug Collins' life. Wow, I'm like at Goober Prom. This is awesome. It's like the dating game, only none of you can leave screaming. Go.
Now, President.
Wait, holy shit. Listen to that noise.
Lisa Booth and former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins. Now, President Biden is set
Is that how people react when Doug walks into a room?
to meet with the president of Mexico later today after making his first trip to the southern border as president. A trip his critics say was nothing but a photo op, or
especially the ones who do nothing but border photo ops.
as I call it, a layover. The president's meeting in Mexico City comes as new video into Fox News.
Don't say layover when you're that close to Doug. It gets him excited.
Shows more than 100 migrants being processed in Eagle Pass, Texas. But when
Wait, they're being processed? I thought the border was just wide open. He's the president. Can't he just wave them right through? Can he It's like when Trump magically declassifies documents, right? Can't Trump just go, "You're all citizens"? Not a joke. And they're all... Is that how it works? Isn't that how Fox thinks it works?
the president stopped for just 4 hours in El Paso yesterday.
Just 4 hours.
To see the border crisis firsthand. He didn't see the usual scenes of migrant encampments that we've been showing you for years.
That's because you use old footage all the time.
That's because they were cleared ahead of his visit.
Yep, Abbott moved him because he didn't want the president to know he's been misusing federal funds.
Look at the photo right now. What you are about to see is El Paso on Wednesday.
This is a very awkward photo of Trump meeting Abbott. And this is when he gave this. I gave him a piece of paper to show him what for. Your visit to our southern border with Mexico today is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. Moreover, your visit avoids the sites where mass illegal immigration occurs and sidesteps the thousands of angry Texans. You couldn't say it with your mouth. You just had to hand him a piece of paper. Here, read this. I put all my angry thoughts on paper.
Versus El Paso on Thursday. We can pull that up maybe a little bit later.
Yeah, not right now. It requires reading, and that's just rude on Fox at this hour.
On his arrival, Texas Governor Greg Abbott handed the president a strongly worded letter.
MAGA! Magoo! A strongly worded letter. Oh, I can't. Somebody hold it. Oh, I can't. Not a strongly worded letter. Oh, God, not. Oh, were there exclamation points? Oh, I can't take it. Fucking a strongly worded letter. Did he take back his stapler too?
It reads in part, quote, your visit to our southern border.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Trump meeting Abbott? Biden meeting Abbott. Yeah.
With Mexico today is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. Moreover, your visit avoids the sites where mass illegal immigration occurs and sidesteps the thousands of angry Texas property owners. American citizens, my paraphrase, whose lives have been destroyed by your border policies.
Well, citation needed. They might be, technically you can buy a lot of property in Texas through LLCs, and nobody's really checking if it's private property. So you could have cartel guys owning huge houses in that area. Too much, too soon? Sorry.
This chaos is the direct result of your failure to enforce the immigration laws that Congress enacted.
If you don't like me, check this box.
Governor Abbott had more to say when he joined Harris last hour. What?
Yes, after the president had left.
These points that I laid out about ending catch and release, about detaining people who are coming across the border illegally, about turning back across the border people who are coming across the border illegally. All of those are things that the president and the United States already have the legal authority to do, and they are not doing. And until they step...
First of all, then what the fuck is Title 42? First of all, Title 42 is still in place. It is exactly enforced the way it was when it was during the beginning of COVID under Trump. The fuck are you talking about? And the process people who make asylum claims, for example, are getting processed. They're going through they're talking to them. They're going, where are you from? They check on them. They run a background check. And then if they don't qualify, they fly them home.
Step up and start doing this. All these other things they're doing is nothing more than a dog and pony show and is not going to stop anybody from coming across the border illegally.
No, of course not. Not with assholes like you going on the television every day and saying that the border is wide open. Gee, I can't imagine where they got that idea in their thick skulls.
Oh, Congressman, truer words never spoken, frankly. I hope President Biden actually did read that letter. It remains to be seen whether he will, in fact, enforce those policies the governor just articulated that they've been failing to do for 2 years.
Well, let's start off really easy right here. No, he's not. So let's get this.
Ladies, right. Can I touch your leg?
Get this all out in the way. That trip to El Paso reminded me of, you ever got a call about 15 minutes, a friend from out of town is coming into your house, they say, hey, I'm stopping by. All of a sudden you take everything and cram it into the closet. Well, this is really what the Biden administration's immigration policy is like. They take everything, they cram it into the back room of the closet so nobody sees it, and then when everything goes back to normal, then they just ignore that it's there. They open.
By the way, anybody remember Trump walking by a street with those people, like walking up and talking to migrants on the streets of El Paso ever, and all the trips that he went down there? What, do they look any fucking different? He's the president of the United States. He is not going to stand near some rando El Chapo dude in a tent who managed to squeak past and is going through an asylum process who's sitting there, or some rando Texan who decides I can be the next, fucking Booth or Oswald by laying in a fucking sleeping bag on the side of the road. Are you out of your fucking mind? Democratic presidents don't do well in Texas.
Put it up and let it fall out. Look, you've had 2 years. They have an open border policy.
No, they do not.
They show no interest in making this happen. Mayorkas is a complete, absolute, abject failure and needs to quit just out of anything else.
I blame the wall.
But this is the problem that, he doesn't see the real thing. And Biden, I think, knows it because we're hearing the reports that he's yelling about it in the White House. But the question is, it's not just knowing something, it's actually doing something about it. Democrats don't want to do anything.
So that's how we know he cares, because he's yelling at people.
He's yelling at people,
I
yes.
mean, I guess between that and whispering, Harris, you had such a great interview last hour with the governor. I loved watching it.
You're wonderful. We're all so glad you're here. I'm going to run this show, not you. So get used to the idea, okay?
And I think what was so...
It's like the Real Housewives of Fox and Friends.
Offensive and troubling and disheartening as a fellow American citizen of all of those down there, especially in El Paso.
All those people weren't American citizens. That was kind of the point. The people that got, never mind.
Is that for the president to receive this sanitized view, as the governor told you, there are more illegal immigrants that have come over the border just since December than the city's population itself. These numbers are staggering.
Yeah, because they keep coming back and they keep getting kicked out because it's Title 42 and they keep making the same run over and over and over again. It's crossings, not individuals.
And yet the president, what are we, Rio de Janeiro, cleaning up for the Olympics? He all of a sudden has to have it be peachy keen. He can't handle the truth?
Well, if he could handle the truth, he would have gone down there unannounced.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
We've had...
Yeah. You mean the same way Trump went to that church and held up a Bible unannounced?
Presidents pop all over the world unannounced.
Do they? Yeah, they end up on military bases, fucko. They don't walk down the streets of a random city in America in general.
And it wouldn't have taken him 2 years to get there. So 2 things really popped out at me that I learned.
Yeah, he's been busy passing an infrastructure bill and the CHIPS Act and yeah.
Learned from that interview that I didn't know. First of all, I didn't realize that the containers and things that the governor had put into place had started to have an impact about a week or a week and a half ago.
Yeah, they totally had. Yes, they had. They were people were drilling holes in the outside of them and they were using them to hide in and sneak people across. So instead of like an offense or in the wall where either you can't traverse or in a fence you can see where people are gathering. You can send resources to it. What they can do is just they cut a hole in one side and they make a little door on the other side, and then they just peek out a little drill hole until there's nobody there, and then they just run. It's like a way station.
And when did we find out that the president was going down? A few days ago, when they saw that the...
That's what it was. Because the shipping containers on federal land that were, by the way, and the part of the wall that he built that was collapsing, that was going to make give more American land to Mexico the same way Trump did when he builds sections of this shit fence.
The tide had been stemmed just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
But even with that,
he went down there to insist that they take down this thing and it's an open border policy. I told them, not a joke.
the governor today, well, that wouldn't have accounted for not seeing anybody. I mean, you're not just talking about sanitizing the streets where people were lined up trying to stay warm in blankets and get into shelters that had filled up in the city of El Paso.
Well, I mean, they're terrorists and murderers. They're all covered in fentanyl, and they've got guns, and they're El Chapo-y MS-13s, whatever. They can be chilly. We don't care about those people, Harris.
God bless those citizens, by the way, who've done everything they can do and share their space, food, everything else.
With these murderers and these future terrorists. It's an invasion, Faulkner. They're helping the other side.
That's one thing. But the sanitation for the president's political protection was the fact that he goes to a migrant facility where they're intaking like 1,000 people a day. He tried to tell the president. The president's like, no, I just want an average number. He pushes back on this guy to give him a smaller number that he can live with. And he doesn't see one migrant at that facility. You've got 1,000 people. Adjusted number 300 to 400. And not one person is at the facility when the president shows up. You don't have to show their faces on camera. But
okay. This weird thing where I don't know what. Does anyone believe that if Biden, while he was there, met a woman with two little babies that came across and she spoke through an interpreter that she was seeking asylum, that these assholes wouldn't have gone, they concocted this, they moved everybody out and just had somebody, they had him talk to somebody that made it look like, boo, fuckity who. Like, I guarantee it. He didn't meet with anybody for a fucking reason. He was there to see the facility, the part they pay for. The individuals don't really matter. Either they have an asylum claim and they'll be adjudicated, or they don't, they get sent back. That's life.
But my goodness, that's a cleanup of epic proportions. That's a lie.
And who's surprised?
That's a lie. It's terrible. By the way, anybody remember Trump going down and meeting with any of the... He met with Customs and Border Patrol. Did he meet with any... Did he go to the migrant centers and talk to anybody there at all? No.
Vice Harris, this weekend on Fox and Friends, we had the former border chief Rodney Scott on. He said when President Trump came to visit the border, there in San Diego, that he had two directives. He said, "Give me a tour and tell me what I should know. Tell me what's going on here." What were the directives from the President Biden in his visit? Talking points. This was the border chief telling us this in the past. So what else would we expect from this administration?
What's the difference? What's the difference between tell me what I should know and talking points? Phrase. And by the way, I'm not taking seriously what she said at all. I don't know what she's referencing, and I have no reason to believe her. But the idea that it's the same shit. Tell me what you want me to tell them is what Trump was saying.
Other than a manufactured, pre-programmed, sanitized visit, because everything to them, Martha, is about manufacturing a distorted reality. They
You're on Fox.
Can't handle the reality that
the main hosts on your network have all under oath in court settlements said they do entertainment, not news.
Friday night, 33 migrants were shipped here to New York City. That all of those being processed required the volunteerism of what are those, the air marshals. I mean, it's an absolute joke on the part of this administration. This is the final cherry on top. Well, it's pretty.
33 people to New York City? Did everybody have to move over?
Clear that they don't want to fix this problem, right?
No, they actually have policies in place to fix the problem.
I mean,
One of them is getting rid of Title 42, so the number of encounters versus the number of people goes down, and you see actually who's crossing and process them through and out versus just have people on a fucking loop making it look like the numbers are ginormous.
Ended the building of the wall. They pushed away Remain in Mexico and Title 42.
Which is still in place. What do you mean pushed away? It's still there. It's still there. Title 42 and Remain in Mexico, still in place.
So when you look at the actual policies that they have implemented or not implemented.
Right, like stopping Title 42?
They're all designed at allowing this to continue. They also just ended a period where they had the House, the Senate, and the White House. So if they wanted to do something about this, they just missed that opportunity. So isn't it interesting that that's when the president goes down? Because now he knows he's likely to have some resistance to a bipartisan agreement on immigration, and that's something Republicans will have to answer to as well.
Yeah, I guess so.
Doug Collins. But now he's going to...
Yeah, do you think they're actually going to, I don't know, vote on comprehensive immigration reform?
Have a little bit of pushback, even if he wants to say, I'm the person who wants to fix it. But today is all about this discussion between the heads of the United States, of Mexico, and Canada, right? You have Obrador, you have Justin Trudeau. This is an opportunity where we really need Congressman Michael Waltz wrote a very good piece on this today, talking about the fact that what they need to focus on is energy production, getting Chinese influence out of South America, and also cracking down on these cartels, because neither one of these countries is running the border. The cartel runs the border. It's an embarrassment to governments to the north and south of this border that the cartels.
Our border and Mexicans' borders, both directions. So is Guatemala on the hook?
Run it. They made $13 billion in human trafficking this year. A couple years ago, that number.
No. $13 billion is how much they allegedly take in for the drug trade, and it's gone up since they are trafficking people. No.
Number was 500 million. So this is a huge business for them. But we have drones, we have human intelligence, we have ways that we can work that border with coordination with the Mexicans.
We don't have to. We have a wall. It works. Walls and wheels. Maybe we should put some wheels down there.
Let's see some aggressive discussion about being proactive and cutting back on these cartels, because...
Cutting back on these cartels. Does anybody know what that sentence means? Because I don't. Cutting back on these cartels. Let's give them a little trim. Let's give them a little...
They are in charge.
Martha, that right there, that was literally presidential. But instead, what we got from
Martha,
actual
2024.
Joe Biden.
There's an announcement
He
here.
asked the question. But listen to what the actual president asked when he got down.
Yes, presidential to her is literal gibberish.
On there, he said, he was caught on air saying, if I could wave the wand, what should I do? Oh, I don't know, Mr. President. Did any of the lawsuits filed by the attorneys general, maybe the governors, maybe the disaster declarations by the mayors, get out of here? So do we have a president, Lisa, or do we have a genie in a bottle?
Well, we
she's my new favorite. I'm sorry I didn't get her name earlier in this, and I'm sure it will come up again. But I'm digging the wound up with nowhere to go intellect. I'm digging the sort of random getting offended at things at incomplete thoughts. That's special. That takes more. That's quite Bongholio. Maybe he teaches a class there.
We have a liar in chief, right? This is an Orwellian presidency.
Yeah, 1984, and we're all in Animal Farm, and this is so Orwellian in its own Orwellianness. Everything is up, is down. The border, he's saying it's closed and it's open. We say it's open and it's closed. Everything is gutter speak. I don't know.
It's a gaslighting presidency. I mean, you look at...
Yeah, it's all those references that I hear but don't understand. It's those. This is Psycho, but if he really was his own mom. Oh my God. Does anyone smell almonds?
Look at everything. We're being lied to. I mean, we're facing a massive propaganda war from the media and this administration. And
you are in the media, dum-dum.
It's on everything, right? You look at this sanitized version of the border where they kick everyone off the streets and clean it up for the photo op, right? You look...
No. If it's... I'm sorry to do this to you right out of the gate, but if they cleaned up the people on the street so that he could have a photo op on the street, then show the fucking picture of him walking down that street but with no people on it. He's not anywhere near there. He's at the wall. He's talking to those people. If it's for a photo op, show the fucking photo.
Look at with the vaccines not providing immunity. They changed the definition of what it means to be vaccinated. Oh, men can have babies. Men can get pregnant. It's pregnant people now on everything. Oh, you don't like, we're in a recession. You don't want people to know. Just redefine it. Right? So that's what we're.
Yeah, we're like, no, words don't even mean stuff anymore. I don't even know what stuff is at this point. I mean, stuff I like need to put in storage, but why isn't that stored? Stuff is stuffing stuff? I don't know.
We're facing this is an Orwellian presidency. We are being.
Is it Orwellian though? Am I mishearing you?
Lied to on a monumental scale, and sadly, much of the media, not us, are following.
No, not you guys. You obviously.
Following along with it. And unfortunately, we have a small group of Republicans who fought for change. They'll force a vote on the Texas border plan. So you're going to have some of these Democrats on the record. What do they really think about this?
Yeah, really.
And to Martha's point, that's why Joe Biden is doing this photo op, because he knows he's.
Notice how they're going to force a vote on the Texas border plan, but not on comprehensive immigration reform, which has the votes to pass.
He's going to feel the heat. The past 2 years are going to catch up to him, and he's going to be exposed, and so will this administration. So it's time to light the fire under him.
Yeah, it's time to put his feet to the fire and other torture analogies.
Well, real quickly, who wants to run again? So this is part of the cleanup on aisle 7. Just to piggyback shortly.
Cleanup on aisle 7. Hi, dum-dum. He's been in for 2 years. Trump could have fixed this. He didn't. He used Title 42 to push the problem into the future. So he could pretend it fixed it. And it doesn't. Because it's unconstitutional. It would never survive. But he could push it either into his next term where he doesn't have to give a fuck and it's not my problem. And if he could just hold it through his second term, he could lay it off on somebody else when it gets turned over and say, I had it fixed, which is exactly what he says about his own time in there, even though it was COVID that slowed down border crossings.
Off of what you said. So the cartels, they had a prison break about a week ago now. And one of the heads, a really, really dangerous individual.
Wait a minute. There was a really dangerous individual in a Mexican prison. Shit, everything's falling apart.
Gets out, and they are fighting warfare along the border with our country. 17 people.
The border with our country, not at the border with our country. Just
guards died in that fight to keep those people contained. What happens when they can't contain them? And that's right, Juarez, right across from El Paso, where the president was. It's interesting. None of that got talked about during this visit, and he was right there.
Yeah, because that happened in Mexico like a week and a half ago as part of their ongoing attempts to deal with the cartels down there, and nothing did reach the border. The idea of you don't think we have a contingency if a cartel firefight drives across the fucking border and starts shooting in El Paso? You don't think we have DHS and CPB and the fucking U.S. military don't have they've stolen a helicopter and they're flying into U.S. territory. What do you think we're going to do? Just the border's open. I don't know what to tell you. They're flying in over the wall. There's nothing we could do.
Follow the arrest of El Chapo's son. To Martha's point, it is the cartels that are running everything. If anything, Biden should meet with them instead of
they should be at the table.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. I'm just saying for the record. I would not recommend Biden meeting with them unless he shaves his head and wears a little hat like Walter White.
Perhaps because until they are in some way or until they're under pressure with these drones and intelligence, they don't have any incentive to budge.
Well, we also have a DHS secretary who said crossing the border illegally is not grounds for deportation. So we could also start with him.
It isn't if you have an asylum claim. The reason he said that was because of the zero tolerance policy put forward by Trump and specifically Miller in his cabinet, or in his, I guess he was just an advisor, Stephen Miller. But so they were trying to just use the fact that if somebody has a legit asylum claim and they are fleeing Mexico or they fled into Mexico and they were being pursued, or they could not find safety there, continued to the United States, that just the fact that they illegally crossed the border was not enough of a crime to count as a violation of their asylum claim by saying, well, we don't allow criminals in. That was the plot. That was their strategy. If we make that an unforgivable crime on that level, we have a zero tolerance policy, then anybody who seeks asylum legitimately, if they do it by running across the border, is immediately disqualified and guaranteed never to stay. That's what they were shooting for. Now, she's awful, so that's not surprising. But that was, I mean, this is the brain trust that's operating on outnumbered right now.
With my workers, there's a lot needed.
Yeah, there is a lot needed. It's so fine.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno.
Emily Campagno.
Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered.
Oh, you and your co-host. Used to be, Harris used to drive this show. Is she getting Judge Janine? Is that what's happening? Do tell. I'm not going to waste any popcorn on it because there's not going to be enough for 2023. Hi, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide, and I'm over time. I had other clips, and I'm out. I got a regular show tomorrow. Can I do a short one? Can I do one short one? It's not that long, and I promise it's idiotic. And you can tell by the opening shot. Ladies and gentlemen, Glenn Beck. 3 reasons the GOP House Speaker chaos was great for America. That's the sales pitch. 5 minutes of glorious dipshittery. Here he is. I don't know what. I haven't. You guys know I don't pre-watch these things because this is wit and it's spontaneous. And in the process, I don't know what action figure he's dressed as today. We will find out. But Stu is there. They've got some Sonic. They're both, I guess, trying to out-diabetes each other. I don't know what the shit, but we will find out. 3 reasons the GOP House Speaker chaos was great for America.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm thinking that it worked out pretty good.
Well, Glenn, you would.
Holding McCarthy, for 15 votes. I don't know.
But Glenn, it was such an embarrassment. And
mocking the idea that it was an embarrassment. By the way, the vast majority of the people who were the most embarrassed were like Sean Hannity and Crenshaw and Republicans.
And it was such a...
Even Trump, by the way. It's why he called in at the end.
So, can you believe the dysfunction in the party?
Yes, I can. They're a bunch of shitheads.
All that.
No, I can't.
Oh, gosh.
4 days.
We delayed their important work by a few days.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stu is soundly in the camp of it's better when the government isn't doing anything. Makes it easier for Putin to plot shit and destroy our electrical grid.
Yeah. So here's what they got. Minimum 72-hour reading period for all bills
that was already there.
Presented to Congress.
That was already in the rules package. They had already agreed to that beforehand. That was not why they were holding out.
Now, you would think that, we already have that because that's exactly what President Obama, I'm just going to point out, the Freedom Caucus actually got in writing what President Obama said he was going to do and never did.
Yeah, and it'll have the exact same impact.
72 hours to read a bill.
And the Freedom Caucus did not get that. All the Republicans signed on to that.
Why is that important? Because
it doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with the holdup. You're supposed to tell me why the chaos was great for America. And I'm here to tell you that the chaos had nothing to do with this point.
We don't have a constitutional republic anymore. The way this is being run is there is no appropriations committee, really. There is no way.
Yes, there is. Just because you don't pay attention to it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, dumb fuck. Just because the only thing you pipe in for is when Ted Cruz is yelling at the FBI head or some shit doesn't mean the rest of the government ceases to operate.
Have the power of the purse with Congress because they don't make a budget. They just give.
That's what the omnibus was.
You one lump sum and then let the president divvy it out.
No, they don't. The fuck do you... Are you out of your fucking mind? This is... All right, this wins. I owe an apology to the ladies of Unforsaken, or whatever the fucking show that we just watched was called, The Outnumbered Show, or even Bongholio. Congratulations, you're off the hook. This is single-handedly the stupidest fucking thing anyone has said in defense of last week's Republican chaos. Absolutely the winner of 5 eggs. This is totally stupid. I'm impressed. At this point, I'm impressed. This asshole thinks the omnibus bill was just a number, and that Biden he signs it, just says, this is the budget, $1.7 trillion. We, the Congress, give the president the ability to divvy up $1.7 trillion however he sees fit. Are you out of your fucking mind? How is that? How does that thought get out of your dumb fucking trap? Holy hell. Listen to that. Listen to this shit.
They just give you one lump sum and then let the president divvy it out.
Okay. No! That's never how it works. What? That is next level. That's, kids, this is why I'm telling you, don't drink soda all day, every day. It does something to your brain. We don't know what yet, but the anecdotal evidence is not good. This is bad. This is very bad. You cannot, maybe it's an age thing. You can't do it when you're, 70 now? You can't do this at a certain point. You got to stop. Because that is mind-bogglingly stupid. Like I said, I'm impressed. This is maybe we're watching him degrade over time. I don't know where the scale is of stupid shit that he said over the last few months, but this takes the cake and leaves it out in the rain. And we'll never find that recipe again. Oh no! Good Lord. That's moronic.
That's unconstitutional.
It's also a fucking fiction.
That's not the way anybody does that.
Yes, including the Congress. Way to walk into your own rake, dipshit.
Nobody does that.
Right, no one does that. No one. Even the people you're talking about. No one.
Have a budget.
Yes, they have a budget. There's a budget. The omnibus, that's why it's got 4,000 fucking pages. They didn't write like a zero on every page in big fucking cartoon letters.
Okay,
nothing. No, you can't move on from that. Back the fuck up.
They don't have that.
They don't have that. Don't have what? What sentence? All right. He goes off into this cul-de-sac thought where who knows what the fuck he's talking about. And then he ends it with this button.
Have a budget. Okay. They don't have that. You also no longer have the same process of debate on the floor. When was the last time you saw, except for last week, when was the last time you saw Congress all sitting together as a House of Representatives and debating and have people behind them listening to them?
Well, I'd have to go back to when, before Marjorie Taylor Greene was in office.
Everything that you have seen on the House floor where somebody gets up to make a statement, there's nobody else in the House.
Yeah, they can hear it if they want to. They know how they feel about the bill itself. Their mind isn't going to be changed by some rando bullshit Lauren Boebert says, but she can get what she says on the record so people in her constituency know where she stands on something, which is, of course, out on an ice floe like a lunatic, setting her clothes on fire for heat. I don't know, but they already know where their votes are. We're well past that. You're not going to Mr. Smith your way, past all this. People can make up their own fucking minds. By the way, I'll have you know that one of the reasons you don't have that anymore is because people read the bills on their own.
Literally no one else in the House. That's all made for TV.
No, it isn't. It goes into the congressional record, dumb fuck.
This is why one of the first things they do, and this is Republicans and Democrats, one of the first rules they pass is to make sure C-SPAN cameras can't be pointed at the gallery.
Yes.
Because they don't want you to see that no one's there.
Correct.
So the only reason you saw any of this stuff with McCarthy and Wait
a minute, the Republicans are going to pass a thing that the C-SPAN cameras can't show the gallery?
Matt Gaetz and the guy being restrained and all. The only reason you saw any of that is because the speaker wasn't in place yet and the rule wasn't set yet so that the C-SPAN cameras could be pointed at the gallery. Now they can't. You're never going
to... Stu, fuck is wrong with you, man? You're blowing Glenn's entire high. He was just making this point that somehow it's better, and you're pointing out the fact that it goes right back to the same old bullshit about the C-SPAN cameras. What?
See that stuff again.
Look at Glenn trying to figure out what the fuck Stu is talking about. And I'm not helping you, buddy. I don't know.
For 2 years. But because they hadn't put those rules in yet, you got this small window of time to actually see what was happening.
Right. You need transparency.
They don't have it. He just told you. He just told you they got rid of that. All right, maybe, you know what? Honestly, if you do a show like this, eventually, I suppose the only way you can survive, if you're Glenn or Stu, is to just stop fucking listening to the person that's across from you. Just wait till they stop making noise like Charlie Brown's teacher and start your point. That's the only... honestly, maybe that's the way they just keep showing up for work without wanting to do themselves harm. Just... Thanks, Stu. Anyways.
This is our government. We vote. They're representing us. I want to see what they're doing as they represent us.
Oh, so you're saying they shouldn't have done backroom deals to secure the votes for him to be speaker? No?
So there was no debate. It was all decided by Nancy Pelosi and Kevin McCarthy. And then it was Chuck Schumer and Turtleface. And those...
Oh, nice that Chuck Schumer actually gets name-checked, but Mitch McConnell doesn't. There is, besides he's doing like gropey breast right now, there is a reason to believe that Glenn couldn't remember Mitch McConnell's name just then. That's a possibility.
We're making the decisions of...
Right, the minority leader and the speaker and the minority leader in the House, they know how their people are going to vote because they're supposed to whip them so that we can get on with life, so that everything isn't a fucking television show. This motherfucker just wants more programming. Now, I do too to some degree, but I got shit to do. So do you.
Of what would come to the floor of the House and the Senate, and then they would give it to you, maybe 5 hours before a vote. It's 2,000 pages. You can't read it.
Okay, they're not giving stuff 2,000 pages right before the vote that nobody understands or can't read. Everything goes through the appropriations process. These bills sit in fucking committee. They get worked out. They get briefed by their committee members every week. If anything they want to know from any of those people, they can go check out. When they know the vote is coming up, they can get the rundown from their members on the committee anytime they fucking want. This whole idea that they keep springing shit on us is nonsense. There are Republicans and Democrats and independents on all of these committees. It is not the fault of the American people that the Republicans don't want to do their fucking homework, and that every pop quiz that shows up is a fucking shock to them because they haven't done any of the reading. That's what this is always about. The omnibus is all the other appropriations bill, and you just vote on them all at once because you've already secured votes and everybody has worked out in their conference which ones they're for and all that kind of shit so that you don't have to waste all fucking year on the budget.
You need attorneys. You need your staff to go over what is in that bill.
No, you don't. Yeah, that's why you have people on the committee. You talk to them. And then if they have any questions and you have any special interest or special abilities around that area, then you can talk to your staff and your attorneys. Nobody's running each bill by their fucking lawyer like it's a contract.
That's what the House Freedom Caucus just accomplished.
No, they did not. That was already in there before they started holding their votes hostage. Glenn Beck he's either lying or stupid right now. I vote for both. He's a lying moron right now. That was in the rules package that everybody agreed on before the Freedom Caucasians decided to throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing.
For you, conservatives who are against this, you don't have to.
They weren't against it. They were for that part, fuckhead. They just didn't want these assholes leapfrogging themselves onto committee positions that they hadn't earned because they haven't been around long enough.
To apologize. Will you at least admit this is something good?
Yes, they don't have to admit it, dumbass. It was their idea.
Democrats who said these guys are terrorists, it's in the hands of crazy people.
Yeah, no, that was Dan Crenshaw who said that.
Is that crazy? What they got, is that crazy?
Ben, Glenn, I'm snapping. That's all there is to it. Glenn, at this point, I'm just assuming he's just fucking like everything else that we see when he has something come up on his screen. This is the first time he's seeing it. This is the first time it's like these elements, what's in the rules package that they were fighting over all last week, where people started looking into it. What's the big deal? What's the hang up? What's the part that they want that they haven't gotten yet? What are they insisting on? And we found out it was more about committee seats than it was about anything else because they only made one change, and that was instead of 5 motions, people to make a motion to vacate, it's 1. That's it. That's the only change from everything before. Everything he lists was already in the rules package that everybody had signed off on, even the people who were already voting for McCarthy. So giving these 20 credit, or even the 6 or the 3 or the 5 at the end or the 7 that voted present, credit for that shit is part and parcel to how the Republican Party is run. This is how stupid they are, and this is how stupid the people who are sending their message out to the people is. Glenn Beck is creating a problem for the majority of Republicans and for Kevin McCarthy by artificially giving credit to the members of the Freedom Caucus who held back their vote for stuff they did not insist on, stuff that everybody was for. He's now giving this small group credit for stuff that everybody had already signed off on.
Or does that work to your advantage as somebody who belongs to the United States of America as a voting citizen?
Almost a sentence. Almost.
Isn't this a good thing?
Yeah, again, it was already in there.
Now, they also got a commitment on a committee to study potential FBI abuses against the American.
Ooh, a committee. Thank God they've moved away from Washington business as usual, and they're not just going to do a study group on a committee that will look into a thing that we'll see real action. What happens? What does a committee do? What can it do? It can present a funding cut, right? Materially, that's the one thing they could do. Or I guess they could try and get Ray impeached, which would allow Biden to put someone in charge of the FBI of its own choosing instead of having one of Trump's people. That's fun.
Public. That's a church committee. And I'll explain that later next hour. That is really, really good.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And it's not going to do anything, but it's so good.
How about this for everybody who thinks it's an
By the way, that was already in there as well.
Extremist thing on the left. Term limits. They're going to get a vote. We all know how it's going to turn out. But they're at least going to get a vote on term limits. That's something that almost every American is for.
One of the most popular things in our discourse.
Correct.
Something like 80% of people support.
Yeah, for everybody except their House Republican. And they're like, no, I like them. The fuck out of here. Ageist bullshit. That's because they cultivate this idea that governing isn't a skill, that legislating isn't a skill, that we just need new people in all the time. Somebody with spongy brains that the people who, the donors want that really bad because they can just filter fuckers out and get new people in and have stronger and stronger control over them.
Correct. So how is this
also already in there?
A bad thing for
because it has nothing to do with those things, dumb fuck.
America.
Oh my God, Glenn Beck is dumb. This is aggravating me today. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm even shocked. This is the stupidest shit he said in forever.
For Republicans or Democrats, this is the first time I've seen a group of people actually do the work of the American people and take all the arrows and keep standing.
Okay, no. First of all, they didn't keep standing. They voted present. Secondly, none of the things you listed, none of them. Like did he mention at this point? Like these assholes have brought it up. I know they mentioned it on the Unforgiven, but on the motion to vacate going from 5 to 1 was the only change. What arrows are they taking? They wasted everybody's fucking time. They helped everybody see just how weak McCarthy is, but we knew. Nobody gave a shit. This isn't going to last.
When's the last time you saw anybody do that in Congress?
Well, it certainly wasn't this time, Glenn.
For some special interest, not for something that is really divisive. None of those are divisive.
Right, which is why they were already in the rules package and that they figured they would pass. And even still, it was a party line vote.
When's the last time you saw that?
You've never seen it, Glenn, apparently, because none of those things were the reason why they didn't vote for Kevin McCarthy.
Congratulations to the House Freedom Caucus.
For your brand new committee seats that you negotiated behind closed doors to manipulate the House to get seniority that you don't deserve ahead of people who've been in office longer and have been reelected multiple times, that you've only done it a couple of times and already you're ahead of them in committee seats. Congratulations for cheating and chiseling your way past your fellow Republicans. I don't give a fuck. Knock yourself out.
I wish these guys were in charge.
Yeah, wait till they do a motion to vacate, dumb fuck.
Honestly, because they're only asking to live by the Constitution. That's a good thing, a really good thing. So congratulations, America.
I feel congratulated. Everybody, we'll all, I mean, why aren't we all just standing right now? Honestly, this is, thanks, Glenn. Really, really. It's, second only to you humming the parts of the national anthem because you don't know all the words. This is probably the most patriotic, rousing speech of your career. This is the most patriotic gibberish I've ever heard. Oh, God. That was fucking torturous. I'm glad I did it, though, because we would have gone today without a winner of the dumbest shit said about the speaker fight in the House. And by the way, more than likely, we're going to get to have this whole conversation again. Yeah, that's right. You know why? Because one of these dumb fucks is not going to like the fact that these bills don't pass, that they try to get them through, but then they just die or some shit. That will be enough. Or that they want all this stuff done. We want to get stuff done. And then they realize, oh, everybody's got to be present for debate. And not everybody can be present for debate. So we've got to push that bill. So we're really only going to be able to do one thing every 3 weeks. With this 72-hour rule and this, which they've already broken, by the way. Like the repeal on the 87,000 IRS agents that they're trying to do. They're debating it right now. They're literally doing a debate. That wasn't available for 72 hours as it's currently presented. They should walk out. I'm presenting this. You can read it, and then Wednesday we'll get to it. They're not following those rules at all. They've already broken them. They have already broken the rules they've set. It's so glorious. It's going to be so fun. The damage that they can do to the country is contained. The damage that they can do to their own party is endless and ever-flowing, like an erupting volcano of horseshit. I can't tell you how much fun it's going to be watching them chew each other's ankles and then end up doing exactly the business that the House has to do to keep the country from grinding to a halt that every other one has done when reality sinks in and everyone around them, including, by the way, their big donors, go, what the fuck are you guys doing with this debt ceiling horseshit? I'm telling you, Oh, it's so good. It's just so good. And I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Thank you, patrons. Patreon.com/HalSparks. You guys are awesome, and you make this whole thing possible. The super chats, I appreciate it because it's how I eat and have health insurance. So, and everybody else who become in our regular subscribers on Twitch, same thing. You guys, that's how you guys help out over there. And the folks who throw stars my way on Facebook and whatnot. Bless you all for just the support. It's lovely to see as we grow this thing. We're at 47,000 plus subscribers. We're headed towards 50. Share the show. Give it a thumbs up. Like and subscribe. Share the shorter videos if you can't take it. We're going to find a way. I think we're going to have to find a way to take the 20 or 30 minutes I do on a topic and cut it down to like 10 and just get those out. Just take a chunk of it. Not the whole thing. And people want to watch the whole thing. They can get over. I'll do one of those. Hey, thanks for watching that. That was a teaser. Go watch the real thing. Just to save ourselves. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyways, until then, thank you guys for joining me for the long form. I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon for the regular show, 3 p.m. No morning show tomorrow. Wednesday, Philip Bittner will be joining us. Thursday, I have a flying lesson. And Friday, we'll have the regular show. I may have a guest for Friday, too. So fingers crossed. I'm working on it. And then Saturday, of course, that in the afternoon shows. And you guys know the schedule. And anyways, it's a Midwestern goodbye, isn't it? It's what I do sometimes. You know, I don't like saying bye to you guys because you're awesome. And we have so much fun. By the way, enjoy all day tomorrow as the right wing start chafing when things get talked about on the floor and votes come up and debate happens, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's the laundromats. It's the laundromats. Okay, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I almost forgot. Jipple wanted to say hi. Jipple wants to say hi. How's you doing, buddy? You okay? Jipple wanted to say hi. Jipples. You okay? Wait, we've started doing a new thing. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can do this. 1 second. Hush. Shut up now. Voices carry. Puts his paws on my face when I sing. Oh, touch. Oh, huh? Do I want kittens? Of course I want kittens. Chip's like, do I get to eat one? He was like racing after you. Oh, we're going to have kittens. If you can hang on for another second. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Huh? Huh? Were they all the way upstairs? Yep. Oh yes, kittens in a moment. Kittens in just a second. I mean, you thought you were getting out of here early. Talk about a Midwestern goodbye. Hilarious. All right, we'll see. I don't know if we'll get one or two, whether it'll be Smokey or Ash. We don't know. They both had the kitten squirts, so they were not able to get broken this week. So their next appointment is next week, where they will be officially broken, and it'll be ugly, but it will happen. It's okay. By the way, I call it broken, not fixed, because you don't fix something. Hi, buddy. Uh-oh. What's happening? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm doing a show. Hi, buddy. Hi. What's happening? Shall I take both of them in? Yeah. What's up, guys? Look at the double barrel kitties. What's going on? Talking to the microphone kitties all day long. Hi. How are you? What's going on, Ash? You okay? You're purring. You're crazy. Are you guys crazy? Have you gone crazy? Are you crazy kittens? Yeah. Ash is like, I want to run around on that. There you go. Sit. Yeah, just sit. There you go. He's like, I'm going to drape if you don't mind. What you doing? What you doing? Ash wants to jump. He's ready to jump. Hold on. Yeah, we'll do one at a time. This is Smokey. What are you doing? Are you okay? It's my chest. Mm-hmm. Okay, here, I'll trade you. I'll take the rambunctious one. Okay, all right. You got it? All right. they're they're like, we're out of the little room. We have to keep them sequestered from the other cats sometimes, or at least until they got their shots. Why? Huh? And Chip thinks he's a kitten because he's very young. He's the youngest in the house other than these guys. And he's gigantic, though, and he doesn't understand that he can't play with them because he will squash them, right? And you guys are little tiny things. You're little tiny things. You are. You're so cute. You're a handsome man. You are. You're like a Murphy in the making, except not as loud and annoying. No offense, Murph. Oh, no. Oh, he's getting sleepy, too. He's like, I could just dig this. They just woke up. Did they? Okay. Hi. Yeah. Okay. Hop over here. Want to trade? Try and trade? Hold on, you. What's going on, buddy? I'm going to take that guy. Hello. And then this is Ash. Ash is a sweetheart. Ash is more rambunctious at certain times because he likes to fight. He's a fighter, not a lover. But at times he reminds me. His face reminds me of like the king lion from Robin Hood. He's got very regal face. Don't you? He's purring. Yeah, a little ASMR, good stuff. Yeah, hi, buddy. So, anyways, bye. I'm gonna go. We don't have to give them medicine today. They're done, right? Yay! They're all done with their medicine. Congrats. We can just give you a treat instead. You don't have to. They hated it. It was a mess. It was a nightmare. Got more of it on us than in them, clearly. But they're okay. They're healthy. Oh, you want to go running around? Yeah. Okay, here you go. They don't have their bells on. Yeah. We put little bells on them in case they get lost, but they don't have them right now. Hi. He's like, I'm going to go run up a drape. Anyways, much love, you guys. I just thought you guys would see him, and I'll see you later. Okay, love you. Bye. Okay. See ya.